Namaste, everyone, and welcome to the podcast series by Sewa International USA, the Sewa Path, learning from life journeys grounded in values. Guided by the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, rooted in the spirit of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. May everyone be happy. Sewa International, a Hindu faith-based organization, is serving local communities across United States and beyond. With this effort, we begin a new journey to educate, inspire, and engage our Seva USA volunteers through heartfelt conversations. Shubha Swagata to all our Karyakartas and listeners. I am Anjana Bhadri, your host, and today I'm joined by Shruti Karu for technical support. Today's episode is very special. It's useful for both parents and students. Curious to know? Welcome to our first episode, College Preparedness. From classroom to campus, let's try to understand how to navigate college admissions. And to talk about this, we have with us Dr. Archana Sudame. Archana ji, namaste and welcome to the show.
Namaste ji. Yes.
Dr. Archana ji is a highly skilled, experienced educational consultant, researcher, and STEM mentor based out of San Francisco Bay Area. She holds PhD degree from Rutgers University. She's an active member of NACAC, that's National Association of College Admission Counseling, WACAC, Western Association of College Admission Counseling, HECA, Higher Educational Consultants Association, and she's also the member of Independent Consultant Educational Consultants Association, where she is not only a professional member, but she's also a peer mentor. She is the founder of Admission Crew, and with her unique blend of academic research, teaching, she has advised over 4,000 students so far in her career. Archana ji, once again, welcome, and we are very delighted to have you here. Archana ji, college admissions can be overwhelming for both parents and students. But what if we shift our focus from getting into college to becoming ready for the opportunities that follow? And that's exactly what we want to explore in today's conversation. Let's go to the first question. Many parents and students uh, believe that getting the best college is the ultimate goal. Is college admissions really about getting the best college? In your experience, what is the biggest misconception families or students have about the college admission?
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I would say it's a very good question. The biggest misconception is that there is only one perfect college for myself or my child, right? That is when we start with that theme. And the focus is usually on a top ranked college automatically. And many families feel that is what would make the student successful, happy, and fulfilled because it will create extraordinary opportunities. I tell my families that no college is bad and no college is absolutely perfect. Also, there is no single college that should make your dream college. There should be a list of dream colleges, there should be a list of reach colleges, target colleges, and safety colleges. Because a student can thrive in many different environments, but the right environment also depends on the student's personality, resilience, maturity, academic needs, and learning style.
Mhm.
Sometimes, when families visit a college campus, they get fixated on the visible things. The campus is
Yeah.
beautiful. It has
Yes.
very nice green grass and a large quad where students are relaxing in the sun, makes it look beautiful, right? A large
Correct.
7-story library, that looks impressive. Or some very fascinating, impressive labs that Johns Hopkins has a glass wall, and you can see students in the lab on the other side of that glass wall. That looks fascinating. And when that happens, some students get fixated on, they're looking on in the other direction, and they're saying, oh, the football stadium,
That.
look at this. I'm coming here with my friends. Even the cafeteria, look at the stations. I'm a foodie, and there are like 7 different multinational cuisine options here. Those things are not what make the campus great. A day could be rainy or snowy, and suddenly a good campus gets discarded, even
Mm,
though it has everything. So, those are the things that create an emotional response, but they are not always about the right academic or personality fit for that student. For example, some students, if they are very honest to themselves, they need a nurturing environment. They need close attention from the faculty. They need excellent teaching because they learn a lot more in the classroom than by themselves. Other students thrive in a very large environment where they are not constantly targeted under a microscope of a very small classroom. So they want classrooms that are 100 students and they want to just blend in and do their own thing. So for students who need the small nurturing environment, a small college with stronger access to professors is a bigger fit. Families have to look carefully at every department that the student is interested in if the student is fixated on a particular major. So let's
mm,
say if a student is serious about neuroscience, for example, and a college has just 2 or 3 professors in neuroscience, it's not going to work. For that student, a larger university is going to work. Other students who are more independent from the beginning can read on their own, study on their own, seek out larger opportunities, navigate
mhm,
the system successfully, build their own academic pathway. They may thrive at a larger public university because they need more resources, more option of majors, clubs, research labs, more
mhm,
energetic, high energy campus. So for those students, that is a good fit. The real question is not what is the highest rank college for my child to get into, but the best question is where is my child most likely to grow, contribute,
Exactly.
learn deeply, and become more capable and competent. A college can open doors for anyone, but it cannot replace preparation, curiosity, resilience, work ethic, judgment, and emotional maturity. I've seen students attend highly selective colleges and not make the most out of those opportunities that are given to them. I've also seen students attend less famous colleges. Just today itself, I was looking at one of my students' profile on LinkedIn, and he has been employed at a very fantastic company, but he
Mhm,
started in a very less selective college when he started his journey as an undergrad. So I've seen students attend less famous colleges and build extraordinary lives. Ultimately, college is not the final destination or the final statement in your future. It is one step in that long journey called life. The
mm.
right college is a good place to start. It helps the student begin that journey with confidence, direction, and room to grow. But it's the right college. It's not always the brand name or the most selective one. Thank you.
Yeah, very well said, Archana ji. Because the age and stage of the students will be like, oh, this is so beautiful. Let me get into this. The lab is so good, as you mentioned. Uh, so this takes me to my next question, Archana ji.
Actually, may I just add something before we
Sure,
go to
sure.
the next question? There are
Yes.
some resources out there that really help families get oriented as to what a
Hmm.
good college is like. And I would recommend some of those readings as we go. So, one of the books is Frank Bruni, who used to be a New York Times editor. He wrote a wonderful book on Where You Go Is Not Who You Will Be, and it talks
Oh,
about journeys that come out of lesser known colleges that have been extremely successful. The second one
yeah.
is there are 2 different books by Jeff Selingo, also from New York Times, Who Gets In and Why, and he talks about which students get into which colleges. And the
Mhm,
second one is called The Dream College, and there he
mhm,
talks about the financial troubles of some of the colleges or which colleges can be a financial fit. And things are becoming so expensive. The economy is shoddy in US right now, and many parents are suffering. So the financial uh, criteria are also just as important. And Jeff Selingo's books shed a lot of light on that. So it's a holistic picture.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing those books, and it will be definitely useful for both students and parents. So, with this, I'll go to my next question. So, the past year, uh, what has remained the same in this process, and what has changed? In many cases, kids have clarity, like what they want to be or what they intend to do. But there is so much to consider, like the current market in US, the layoffs, the AI, or back then the COVID situation. So, how to steer that? So, if you can tell us what has changed and what has remained the
Sure.
same.
Yeah, so I have been in this practice officially for 17 years and unofficially for about 6 years before that. So the one biggest
Mhm,
change that I have seen is the scale and speed at which application process is changing.
mhm,
Until I started my own practice, the UCSA prompts were pretty much the same that they had been when I could have applied to undergraduate. So for about 20 or so years, they had the same prompts and then, bam, suddenly changed. When I started this profession, parts of the process were still paper based. Students filled out forms by hand, mailed out material, and applied to a small number of colleges because every application took serious consideration and time and effort. Today, almost everything is digitized. The common application, the relatively newer coalition application, recommendation letters, transcripts, school reports, portfolios, and even interviews are 90-second videos now. So everything is going on a faster track. The convenience has changed the entire admission landscape, and now colleges are also using AI on their side to do the first screening of applications. And these are rumors, so nothing validated yet, but they're claims that they're using AI for that first initial screen.
mhm.
It's become easier to apply and it has become easier to read more applications. Students have begun applying to a lot more colleges because colleges kind of invite you to apply, right? Whether you're a good fit or not, you are enticed into apply. As a result, colleges have started receiving huge number of applications than they did in the past. And that has made the admissions very competitive and very unpredictable. On the one hand, students feel stressed about low admission rates. On the other hand, colleges feel stressed about the yield, meaning the number of students that they admitted may or may not show up to their campus, right? So by asking more students to apply, they have not really made their life very easy either. The second
Right.
major change is the rise in holistic admissions. Colleges are now focusing not just on grades and test scores, but they are looking at the context. Which school are you coming from? Which city are you from? Which geographic area are you from? Your personal qualities, their institutional priorities. Do they want more students who are musicians? Because now they have a new performance center.
Mm,
They're looking for other things about the student's background. Colleges are now not supposed to consider race in diversity, but they are looking for other things like what is the financial status of the student or the area in which the student lives in. What is the intended major? Does the college have enough funding for that major? What do the recommendation letters say? How are the essays looking? They all Some colleges are supposed to take more interest in supplemental essays, which are very specific to the colleges, right? Other colleges just look at the general essay. Some colleges
mm,
have AI detectors, other colleges don't believe in that. So there is a mixed bag. Um, but at the end of the day, colleges are asking three questions. What is the student going to be able to contribute to my campus? And that is in terms of, is the student going to be a wonderful student, a pleasure for the professors who teach the student? Is the student going to be a pleasure for the campus activities that we have created for all the students? And the third thing is the student going to be a good roommate material and get along with their peers? So when I say roommate material, it's a very generic thing. Overall, is the student going to be a good peer, helpful person, kind person, supportive person, student who takes leadership but is also kind to others? And colleges are looking for that. There are many factors, though, beyond the student's control that get weighted very heavily in the admissions decision. And those are called institutional priorities. Is the student a legacy student, meaning have the parents attended the same college? Are they large donors? Or some colleges might be looking for some sort of diversity that we do not know about. The third major change that has come into picture after the pandemic is the shifting role of standardized testing, and many colleges initially got rid of their SATs and ACTs, and then some colleges, and in fact most of them, 80% of the colleges, returned to the SAT and ACT, at least the most selective colleges, because they saw that the grade inflation is a new thing in high schools, and they saw that many students who came in with perfect grades were not really ready for college. So they have reintroduced the SATs and ACTs. And lastly, families ask me whether AI has changed the college admission field. And I think it's too early to predict that AI has made some fundamental changes in the admission process itself, though some colleges are using AI as the first screen. But AI has certainly changed the larger educational landscape. It has changed how students learn, how they think, how their skills are getting developed, and
Mhm.
how they are looking at future careers. For example, pure computer science is no longer popular. 5 years ago, everyone was clamoring to get into computer science as a major. Today, it is computer science plus something. So,
Okay.
computer science plus public policy, computer science plus health
Right.
science, computer science plus mathematics, and so on.
Okay.
So, what happens is we talk about what is it that students should focus on, because that has not changed over the years, right? These are all the changes. So
Changes.
things that
Yeah.
have not changed are, having a good judgment, having great communication skills, being ethical in their reasoning, having integrity, being creative, having interdisciplinary thinking, asking good questions in the classroom to your teachers, to your professors.
Yes.
I'm also seeing that students think differently about the majors. They're less drawn to the traditional um, humanities pathways because they're shifting away from that, but they're mixing humanities and tech, which is good. Um, Combining fields is an excellent open-mindedness that is working. Students have done that in the past, and they can continue to do that. The broader question is about education and career, and we do not have uh, any understanding of where that is going to go.
Mm.
Um, I would describe it as settled once we understand the landscape that AI is going to create a little bit better, not just
Mhm.
for admissions, but also for job opportunities. Um, Things that are absolute constants are academic preparation, strong writing skill, having intellectual curiosity, maturity, integrity, as I said. And student who has developed real skill over time is always a better prepared student than a student who is simply trying to package themselves for admissions. So being very truthful to yourself and developing those skills. My
Mm.
message to families is the tools have changed, the volume of application has changed, the policies will keep changing. We don't know the future of AI, but the substance is still the same. Preparation matters, character matters. Just because it's easier to submit applications today does not mean it is easier to get in. In fact, it's just the opposite, that when students apply in large numbers,
Mhm.
admissions become more competitive and less predictable. So that is something that families need to focus on.
Change is inevitable. Hope students and parents are making note of all the points mentioned by Archana ji, what has changed and what has not changed. And definitely we can, make a list and work on that. Archana ji, this again brings to the next question, which is in this, preparedness for the college admission when while students are preparing, what matters the most? Like, for example, if I have to ask, should a student focus more on academics or extracurricular activities like sports or volunteering, etc.? So, can you please, you know, share your experience in this?
Absolutely. Can we bring up the grid, please?
Sure. Can we have the grid on screen, please? Yes, Archana ji.
Yeah. So as you can see in this grid, you have this large square, and within it, there are four squares. So for colleges where things matter, the things that you're talking about, academics and extracurriculars, those are selective colleges. They are very holistic in their approach. Colleges that are not selective, of course, if you have a decent enough GPA, you can get it. But for the ones that are selective, they look at all four things in a balanced way. Balance doesn't mean everything will have the weightage of 25, 25, 25, 25%. It could be 50%, 10%, 15%, 10% kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, but academics are very important. Uh, you have to be competitive, you have to be relevant in the sense you have to have the right context within your school, and you have to show a collaborative spirit too. um, Activities also same thing, they are looking for how much leadership you have you been able to maintain any impact, have you taken initiative, that is asking for agency. They are looking for setting, location, diversity, what do you bring to the campus. So there are many nuanced things, right? Colleges are also asking questions like, are you going to be a financial liability? What is how much is it going to cost you? The academic grid is also slightly different sometimes when colleges are looking at it. Sometimes the four squares are academics, extracurricular, your application material, and college priorities, institutional priorities. So it can change based on which college puts more importance on what and
Hmm.
which students they are looking at. Um, Students should first focus on doing well at the most appropriate level, take the courses that are available to them in their high school. This does not mean taking every single AP that is offered or the hardest possible schedule. It means that the student should challenge themselves in a way that is rigorous, relevant, and sustainable for who they are. Colleges want to see whether a student can handle college level work. Now, if a student who takes like two or three APs but gets almost all top grades versus a student who takes like five or six APs and gets C's and D's, which student do you think is going to fare better? The student who does things with purpose, takes fewer APs but maintains a very high grade. After academics is the next important thing is meaningful engagement outside the classroom. I do not believe that students need a long list of activities. In fact, too many activities sometimes are counterproductive. They look scattered. And what matters most is consistency in those activities. That means student participates frequently in that activity. There is depth, there is growth, and there is contribution. And contribution comes in three forms: leadership, social impact, and initiative. If a student can show that with the help of one single activity, that is good enough. The student should really be able to show something that they cared about. They stayed with it, they learned from it, they made an impact. That is what colleges care about. The third part is being prepared, but also being self aware. By the time students apply to college, they should have some ability to reflect on who they are, what kind of learning excites them, which environments bring them uh, to the best work about themselves, to show their best work, or what values matter to them. This is what makes their essays and their interviews very strong. Students who are only trying to impress the college often sound very generic because they say the same things. And students who understand themselves really well and reflect upon what they want to write sound more authentic. The fourth part is independence. College admissions are not just about getting admitted, but also being ready for the next stage. So, students who learn how to manage their time well, communicate well with adults, check their email regularly, check the communication from colleges, advocate for themselves, ask for help, handle setbacks, and take responsibility for their work, good and bad, are the students who thrive better in this whole process. So, what families should ask is, should my child, instead of asking, should my child focus on academics or extracurricular? My answer would be academics always come first, but academics are not alone and not enough. The strongest applicants are the ones who don't just collect grades and activities, but there is a purpose to everything that they do. There is an intention behind doing it. So, that intentional, purposeful approach towards college admissions is the most authentic one because it focuses on interests, strengths, values, and students are able to push to their limits. The last thing is what creates depth. A student who has stayed with something, has grown through it, contributed meaningfully to that activity or to a social question, social issue, social challenge, and learn from that experience will always be a more compelling applicant than other students who are more disconnected because their list of activities is very large. So, academics first, but not academics alone if the
And
student can handle it. And the strongest applicant is, of course, the applicant who is academically ready, but is also very purposeful, meaningful in their engagement, self awareness, and shows maturity to succeed once they get in college.
so the grid which you showed, I must say, it will be very helpful. So parents, students, please note it's just not academics alone, and you have to do something along with that which has purpose, which to which you can show the impact. So, Archana ji, I have a follow-up question to this. So, what are the things that's beyond students' control, which can impact the college admission outcomes uh, for a bright and capable student? So, what is that which is beyond control?
So, as I said before, institutional priorities can change. A college may need more students from a particular region, a particular country, from a particular major, from a particular background, a talent area such as music, acting. Financial aid budgets matter. Recently, colleges have lost research funding, so fewer STEM students, right? Some majors have become more competitive than others. Public universities have many obligations to accept more in state students. They do not look at legacy or donors, but privates do. Legacy, athletic recruiting, both public and private. Private universities look at donor priorities. Public universities look at first generation students whom they feel they're obliged to educate because their parents never went to college. Both universities, both types of universities will look at geographic diversity, demographics of serving underserved populations, and these goals are beyond students' control. Also, the applicant pool changes every year, right? A bright and capable student this year could get rejected, even though a similar kind of student was accepted a couple of years ago. Then there is yield protection. That is something that is absolutely beyond the student's control. Many of my students will apply to very difficult colleges in their early action and early decision, and many well fitting smaller colleges they leave for the regular decision, However, those smaller colleges will fill up like 75% of their seats in early decisions, binding decisions, and they only have the remaining 25% open. So, very small area is remaining open for the next set of applicants. And many students do not make it, even though they are a good match for that college. So, that is beyond the student's control. That's called yield protection when the college tries to take more students through early decision, through binding decisions, rather than take a risk that the student might say no. This is why families should not interpret rejection or denial as a judgment of their child's worth. Often it's not even about whether the student is qualified or not, but it's about the limited number of seats and the college's institutional priorities that are arbitrary as far as the student goes.
Yes, we should note that it's the denial is not because of incapability of the student, because of the various other factors. So, Archanaji, what things should a student or family should focus on when finding the right college?
I think the first thing I would say is just look beyond the brand name. There is nothing wrong with applying to brand names. All those are fantastic colleges. But my thinking is they are not the only fantastic colleges. There is a lot more beyond that. They should look for, can my child, can the student thrive academically in the college that I'm looking at? Is the student ready for that? Does the college offer programs and flexibility that my student might need, especially students with learning differences and neurodiversity? Is the teaching very strong for students who learn in a classroom setting? Are the students supported, especially again for neurodiversity or financial needs? Is the campus culture healthy for the student? Do the students get to go out, exercise, have a balanced life so that they can focus on health and academics both? Is the location right so the student can get out and also have a little bit of life outside the college? Or some students who want to be on the campus, does the campus have all the resources they need to call it their home for the next 4 years? Is the cost of attendance realistic? Many colleges now cost $100,000 a year. Is it worth it? Is a good question to ask. Are there opportunities for research, internship, advising, community, and growth? Those are the 5 things that I focus on. Will the student feel like they belong there? Fit is not one thing, it is about multiple things. And to reiterate it, academics, social, emotional, financial, and practical. A good college list should include the aspirations of the student, the reality of college admissions, and also the safety and well being of the student. Most importantly, every college on the list should be a place where the student is actually willing to go and is able to thrive.
Thank you for giving all the answers in points so that we can remember it and implement it while we are in this process. We complete our one segment and now we move to our next segment, which is a rapid fire round. So I'll be asking you multiple questions, Archanaji. So request you to answer in a word or a sentence, maybe. So Archanaji, here is my first question. So one word that would find success in college.
Grit or gritty. And for this, families should watch Angela Duckworth on YouTube to understand the
Oh,
word grit.
okay, noted. Most overrated factor in college admissions.
I feel it's also the most arbitrary factor, which is institutional priority.
Okay, most overlooked factor in admission of the college. I mean, college admissions.
From the college's side, neurodiversity as a point of diversity.
Okay, if you could omit one phrase from college admissions, the discussions what we are having, what would that be?
It would absolutely be the tiering of colleges, tier one college, tier two universities, I don't know what it means, but it's just not the right way to describe any college.
Okay. One skill every high school student should develop before going to college.
Hands down, time management.
Okay. Uh, Finish this sentence, Archanaji. The biggest mistake students make is dash.
Not having an understanding of their true potential or not believing in their true potential.
Okay. In this rapid fire, I'll just include a couple of true or false. There is no such thing as a perfect college. True or false?
True,
True. Okay. Rejection from a dream college can sometimes lead to an even better opportunity.
true,
Students should apply only to colleges they have before, heard of before.
false,
Okay. Uh, we just now spoke. More extracurricular activities always make the application stronger.
false.
Okay. Now I'll come to my last question of the rapid fire. On a lighter note, if college admissions was a movie genre, would it be a drama, thriller, comedy, or an adventure movie?
Ooh. If a parent is taking the lead in the process, it's drama.
Okay.
If colleges are going to decide your future, it's going to be a thriller.
Okay.
If students take the lead and they get into the driver's seat, it can be an adventure, but
Hmm.
it's never a comedy. For that, you have to watch Zarna Garg.
Very well said. So this is all in all drama, thriller, and adventurous movie. That was wonderful talking to you, Archana ji. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your valuable insights and experience. One of the key messages that resonated throughout the conversation and your advice to students was dream, apply, and achieve. So, this simple yet profound mantra reflects the spirit of college uh, preparedness and your purposeful planning that we have planned throughout this episode. We hope this discussion helped everyone, students and families, to make the informed decisions. Uh, Thank you again. We wish you all the best and please continue guiding more and more students. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anjana ji, and thank you, Sewa.
Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning into the Sewa Path, learning from life journeys grounded in values. Stay tuned for more inspiring topics, and we'll also bring more inspiring guests to our episodes. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani paschyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste.